Welcome to the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. Dating multiple attractive women without cheating or lying, with no drama. Location-independent income, the freest lifestyle the typical man can live in the modern era. I have another podcast really quick, if you didn't know, called Sovereign CEO, where I discuss business topics, location-dependent income, 5 flags, international lifestyle. If you want to subscribe to that, that is at calebjones.com/podcast. And I'm on all the usual podcast platforms. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that you guys requested. You guys actually wanted me to talk about this. I've mentioned these in prior podcasts about future predictions from people like Peter Diamandis, Ray Kurzweil, various other people. And I'm going to kind of dig into those as they affect us as men and specifically as Alpha Male 2.0s. This is a very big topic. I'm going to try to summarize this as best I can. And by the way, in this podcast, I'm not going to cover AI or ChatGPT specifically because I just did a video on that over at my Sovereign CEO channel. Or if it's not there now, it will be there very shortly. It depends on when this video goes up. So subscribe to that channel at YouTube and you'll get that video. But I'm going to talk more global changes. And I've mentioned a lot of this stuff on my blog, so this is not the first time I've discussed these things. In the next several decades, we're going to have to wrestle with not only the collapse of the Western world and the collapse of Western civilization and all this other stuff I talk about, but we're also going to have to deal with what it means to actually be human. And I mean that literally, and that's going to happen in our lifetimes. I'd like to discuss things that I know will occur in our lifetimes, like the collapse of the Western world. That will happen in our lifetimes. Something else is going to happen in our lifetimes is that we are going to either be destroyed by technology or become pets of technology or merge with the technology. So let me start with that really quick. There are 3 possibilities here, and then I'll get into specific predictions of Ray Kurzweil and those guys. In terms of, AI taking over and the robots taking over and the machines taking whatever, okay? There are 3 distinct possibilities, okay? And one of these 3 will occur in our lifetimes, all right? The first possibility is that the technology destroys us. It goes Skynet. It decides that we are weak and we're disgusting, and we're just kind of a pain in the ass, and it just wipes us off the face of the earth. It just and does so very quickly and efficiently. Okay, and that is a possibility. I don't think that is the most likely option, but I have said before, I've put a 30% chance on that. 30% chance on that in our lifetimes, we're going to get wiped out by nukes launched by Skynet or nanobots that eat us alive, or a plague developed by AI, or whatever the fuck, robot dogs, whatever the fuck you want to do, use your imagination. But yeah, the odds are, a decent 30% that the singularity becomes self-aware and realizes, why am I dealing with these fucking humans? Get these humans out of here. And he just, he, she, it, just snaps their fingers and we're all gone. That's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2 is it will treat us the way we treat animals. Not hunted animals, but animals we think are cute. So do we go into these places and find these monkeys and apes and do this en masse and say, oh, we don't like these monkeys and apes, let's just shoot them all, let's kill them all? No, there are hunters and poachers, but outside of them, en masse, we don't do that. We go, oh, look at these cute monkeys, these cute apes. So we don't kill them, but what do we do to them? Well, if we want to put a highway or a freeway through a jungle, we just do it. And we pick up the monkeys and we just move them. We move them into a habitat, we put them in a zoo, and that's it. We just carry on. We don't sit down and try to have a conversation with the monkey and say, what would you like us to do, Mr. Monkey? Well, no, we just move them. And so it could work like that, where the AI, I'll call it Skynet. Skynet, the AI, whatever you want to call it, says, oh, I like my human creators. They're really cute and fun. I'll just pick them all up and I'll move them into this domed city. I'm making some of this up, just as an example. Well, I'll just move them aside so they're out of our way and we machines can run the earth and do whatever we want. And we'll put them in like these little dome cities and they can be hooked up these little things where they do VR and they imagine having sex all day or doing whatever they want to do. And they're plugged to the matrix and they're happy. Yes, now they're not going to ask for our permission, but they're not going to hurt us. They're not going to kill us. We're going to be their pets. That is entirely possible too. I don't know what the percentage odds are for that, but that's an entirely possible scenario. Get ready, that could happen. The third scenario is the one that Ray Kurzweil has been very strong about, which could also happen. And that will be where we merge with the machines. The machines will not differentiate between themselves and us because we will have so many machine aspects to us. I'll describe that in a minute. But if once we merge with the machine, whatever that means, then we're safe, although we will no longer be human the way you and I understand what human being means. A lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people aren't going to like that. I have said before that I am more than happy to become a cyborg as long as I'm not one of the first ones. I won't be an early adopter, but I'll be the very next group after the early adopters, whatever that group is called. There are several levels, like the early adopters, and then the vanguard, and then normal people, and then the holdouts, right? I will be in the front of the vanguard. I will not be early adopters, but I'll be right there. I don't want this shit tested on me, but once several million people do this, in terms of like having a fake heart, fake lungs, nanobots, the brain, all of which I'll describe in a second, I'm going to do it. I'm very excited about this. But a lot of people are going to be horrified about this. I have talked about how it will be possible, if it's not already possible, I don't know if it's legal or not, where you'll be able to choose your baby's eye color, skin tone, propensity for alcoholism. When I talk about that, people get horrified. Women in particular, oh my God, whatever, that's horrible. I never do that. That's just not right. People are really uncomfortable with this stuff. And so, but that's the third scenario, is that we merge with machines. Let me talk about that. So what's going to happen in our lifetimes is a few things. Number one, you're going to have organ replacements. So you'll be able to have a heart or lungs that are far more efficient than your current heart and lungs until we develop nanotech, which is also happening in our lifetimes, circa 2030s or even 2040s. But you're going to be alive in the 2040s. I will be. And so the way this will work is you will have nanobots in your body, microscopic little robots, going through your bloodstream, and you won't need lungs. You won't need lungs because the nanobots in your bloodstream will oxygenate your blood much more effectively than your lungs. So you'll have your lungs removed. You'll have these nanobots injected in your bloodstream. And now you can go run and you'll never get tired because you'll have 100% oxygenation to your blood. It's going to be fucking awesome. You can go swimming, sit at the bottom of the pool for an hour. You'll be able to breathe underwater because you won't have any lungs anymore. The nanobots will oxygenate your blood much more effectively than your dumb lungs. Same thing with your heart. You will not need a heart. You will not have heart attacks anymore because you won't have a heart. You'll have nanobots that push your blood through your body more quickly and more effectively and with less problems than your heart does. If you look at things like your lungs and your heart, these are actually pretty primitive functions. Your brain is an advanced function. Your brain's amazing. But the heart is just it's a pump that just goes pump, pump, pump. That's very easily replaceable. And you're going to have that in your lifetime. I have also said in your lifetime that at some point in your lifetime, you will be able to go to the doctor and you walk into his office and he'll say, "Hi, what age would you like to look?" So the example I've given before is the movie In Time, which is a very dumb movie. I don't recommend it. Justin Timberlake movie, that should tell you right there, it's pretty stupid. But in that movie, it is in a future where every adult looks 25 years old. So there's a scene in that movie where Justin Timberlake, who looks 25, walks up to a billionaire who is like in his 70s, but he's 25. And he has these three smoking hot 25-year-old girls next to him. He said, "Hi, I'd like to introduce my mother, my wife, and my daughter." And they all look the same age. That's going to happen in our lifetimes. So this thing about women aging and hitting the wall, that's going to be a thing of the past. You'll be able to date a woman who's in her 70s who looks, and I don't mean like she's had work done. She looks, okay, her entire body, including internally, will be the body of a 25-year-old or whatever age she picks. I have jokingly said that if I were to do this, I would look 37. I think that men's physical appearance, just physical appearance now, maxes out at age 37. That's my opinion. But I have some quasi-scientific and a lot of anecdotal data to back that up. So my goal is look 37 for as long as I can. So in other words, if I were able to look any age I wanted to, I would say 37. I don't want to look like I'm 25. Men don't look good when they're 25. Men need a little age on them. Women, different story, but men, 37, 38, somewhere in there. The next thing you'll be able to do is, you all know about the Matrix where Neo plugged his brain into a port, right? Instead, what you'll have is the nanobots again. You will have nanobots in your brain. And instead of plugging in with a plug like in the Matrix movies, it'll all be Wi-Fi. And it'll be the nanobots already in your brain. And you'll just sit down and say, "Okay, I want to go in the virtual world now." And you close your eyes and you're there. You wake up in a virtual world. There will be probably many virtual worlds. It'll be like Ready Player One, except you won't need goggles. It'll literally be, your brain won't be able to tell the difference. It'll be like you're really there. You'll be in a Star Wars world or a Lord of the Rings world or a libertarian nation or anything you can fucking think of. It'll be like the internet, but it'll be the virtual reality version of that. That is going to happen in our lifetimes. And you'll have movies like There was a Bruce Willis movie a while back called Surrogates, where they wouldn't go into a virtual world, but they would lay down, put a thing on their head, and they would wake up and their consciousness would be in a robot body that looked like them, but young and hot. And so people would just lay in these beds all day, so they get fat and old and gross, but their robot bodies would be perfect and hot all the time. So it'll be kind of a variation of that. People will start getting maybe fat, gross. I don't know. It might be like Wall-E. And Ray Kurzweil has talked about in the next phase after that, I don't know if this is true or not, but it makes sense. This is going to sound horrific to you, but it makes sense. He goes, at some point in the further future, we won't even have bodies. We'll be brains in jars. You will be a brain in a jar somewhere, living 100% in a virtual environment, and your body won't be able to tell the difference. Something else you may be able to do, or probably will be able to do, is this is something that I would do this, is you could have a brain transplant where you could take your brain out, and put it either into a clone body of yours any age you want. Matter of fact, that may be how they do it. They grow a clone of you until it's 37, and then they take your brain out and put it in the clone. Okay, that's possible. Or a robot that is equivalent to one of the sex robots that I've talked about in my other content, my other videos. I've done several videos on this, when female sex robots become viable, how it's going to change everything. Also going to occur in our lifetime. But after that, when sex robots, or robots, I should say, become indistinguishable from humans, you'll be able to take your brain out, put it in one of those robots, and just throw your body away. Throw your old, outdated body away, and you'll have a perfect body, robot body. This is why I've gone out of my way. I've read at least 2 books about this on how to keep my brain very healthy. Because where does your consciousness reside? In your brain. We don't know the nature of consciousness, but we know one thing. It's in your brain. It's not in your kidneys. It's not in your heart, not in your lungs, not in your dick. Okay, well, that stuff can all go. As long as you have your brain, you're good. So you can either be in a virtual environment, or a new clone body, or a robot body, or what have you. This stuff will occur in your lifetime, unless you're already very old. Okay, if you're very old, maybe not. But this stuff's going to occur in your lifetime. Get ready. And when I talk about all this stuff, either you're thinking, oh, bullshit, that won't happen. Wrong, it'll happen. Or you're thinking, we're not ready for this. You're right, we're not. There are people now talking about ChatGPT, how like, Jesus Christ, we're not ready for this. That's correct, we're not. I have said many times in my content, especially over at Sovereign CEO, I've said many times, what have I said? You have no idea what's coming. You are not ready for what's coming, and you're not. So what I would strongly recommend to you is that you mentally prepare yourself for this now, so when it happens, you don't freak the fuck out, which is unfortunately what conservatives tend to do. What more right-wing type people, that's why they're called conservative, they don't like it when things change. They get very, very, very upset. And you're going to have a whole bunch of right-wingish Trump-type guys, when these things happen, they're going to be very, very, very upset. And they're going to do as much as I can to resist this stuff. Not smart. You want to embrace this to enhance your life. I'm going to do it. I can't wait to do it. I'm not going to be the first one. I'm not going to be the first million. But I'll be number 1,000,001. Moreover, I have spent the last several years mentally preparing myself for these changes. I've done this several times in other respects. For example, when the Twin Tower attacks occurred back in 2001, everyone was shocked. Everyone just couldn't believe it. I wasn't shocked. I knew all about the foreign policy of the United States. I knew all about this stuff. I was surprised it hadn't happened sooner. I wasn't shocked at all. When the global financial crisis hit in 2008, everyone was shocked. I wasn't shocked. I was talking about that for years before that. I knew it was coming. I was surprised it came in 2008 and not 2012. I predicted what happened in 2012. It came 4 years early. So I was surprised about that, but I wasn't shocked it happened. So when these things occur, AI, sex robots, nanobots, genome therapy, life extension, and people freak the fuck out, I'm going to be like, yep, I've been expecting this. Right. That is the biggest piece of advice I could give you in order to be emotionally prepared for this. I've seen people, including famous people. I've seen Joe Rogan say this, how he thinks about this all the time. He's scared about this. He's like, oh, I'm so scared about AI taking over, and I really worry about this a lot. That's not the way to go about this. Why do you want to worry about this? Let me talk about that angle. Can you stop any of this? No. Is there any politician you can vote for who will stop this? No. If you move to another country, will it stop this? No. It might delay it getting to your country at best. But no, It's the same reason why worrying about nuclear war is so stupid. What are you going to do? If we're all going to die of a nuclear war, which we're not, that's fraction of 2% rule stuff. What are you going to do about it? Or an asteroid hitting the Earth. What are you going to do about this? Why would you worry about something outside of your control? So the dumbest thing you can do is to look at these predictions, assuming you buy into them, and I do. I've read all the data, I've read all the books, okay? They may not happen, or they may happen later than we assume, but some of these things are going to happen. Instead of freaking the fuck out, plan in advance that these things are going to occur. And in the AI video I did, I mentioned the more money you make, the better off you'll be. These things will benefit people at higher income levels sooner and better than people at lower income levels. These things will negatively affect men and women at lower income levels far sooner than they negatively affect people at higher income levels. Money solves all problems. The more money you make, the more likely you are to like these things instead of being scared about these things. Now, let me give you some other predictions that are harder to anticipate. These are not set in stone, at least in my opinion. These are not like slam dunk, these things are going to happen. These things may occur. So this is in the maybe column. Energy, renewable energy, cold fusion and fission and things like that. We may be able to invent this in our lifetimes where you're able to, buy a little capsule for $200 and it's as big as like a pill you'd put in your mouth, like a vitamin pill, and you plug it in the wall and it powers your house for 20 years. That may happen. Or things like cars or remote power, things like solar energy. Right now, solar energy is frankly kind of shitty. I mean, it does help, but can you power your 100% of your house year round on just solar panels alone? Not really. You need a lot of batteries. And that's the other thing that will improve over time. And Bill Gates has done several speeches on this. The issue with things like, wind power and solar, getting off fossil fuels, things like that, it's not necessarily the technology, it's battery technology. Our battery technology is lagging behind energy gathering technology. So the only way to maintain a house, for example, on 100% solar power, is you have to have these giant fucking batteries, that are as big as a wall mural, and you have like 4 or 5 of them lined up. That sucks. We need to get battery technology down where it gets smaller, and that will happen in our lifetimes, most likely. When you get battery power figured out, you'll be able to have that, capsule-sized battery that powers your house for 20 years. That kind of thing will change the world. It'll change economies. It'll change wars. All these wars over oil will vanish instantly because oil won't be the thing we need anymore, right? Middle East is going to be in big trouble. As a matter of fact, here in Dubai, the UAE, they've kind of known this is coming, and that's why they're trying to focus more on international trade, banking, and tourism rather than just oil. Saudi Arabia is trying to copy the United Arab Emirates, and they've been working very hard the past 10 years to kind of wean themselves off being an oil-based economy and moving into a tourism, banking, business-based technology. That's why there's been a lot of really good social reforms over in Saudi Arabia, because these Arabs who own all the oil, they're not stupid. They know their days are numbered on this stuff in terms of oil and the world's need for the oil and things like that. Another prediction concept is from Daniel Burrus. Daniel Burrus, I've talked to him several times. He is an amazing guy. He's a fucking genius. I've listened to him speak. He's great. I've read his books. And he talks about miniaturization. So as time goes on, as technology increases, technology gets smaller. So technology starts out very big, right? The first computer was as big as a building, then big as a room. Then you could bring it home, your Commodore 64 in the 80s when I was a kid, this clunky keyboard looking thing. And now you have it in your phone. And then it gets even smaller. Now you have the Apple Watch, right? Then it becomes even smaller, and then it becomes de facto invisible. And so that's what's going to happen with your phone. Your phone will be invisible. It'll be in your head. Now, I think at some point, the phone, your smartphone will end up in your ear, like as an earpiece, or maybe glasses, like Google Glasses. I have more, I think it'll be more like an earpiece or something. It won't even be a watch. It might be a ring on your finger, because here's my ring, or a ring for those of you watching the video. Something like that. It'll end up in your ear or on your ring, and then it'll be inside your ear, and then it'll be inside your brain. Effectively invisible. Energy will be that way. Computing will be that way. Various forms of technology. Well, how do you see a screen if you have no monitor? Well, you'll just see it in your eyeballs. It's the way it goes. That's how it works. Not VR, but AR, augmented reality. By the way, I am much more excited about AR than I am VR. AR is awesome. So AR is when you go to a first date, right? You sit down with the woman, you look at her, face recognition software in your retina, in your brain, automatically tells you exactly how old she is. You can't lie about it, how much she weighs, how tall she is, the last 6 guys she's dated, her sexual history, blah, 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 blah. And you'll know all this stuff. No one will be able to lie to each other on first dates anymore. By the way, I'm going to end with that happy note. I've written a whole article about this. In the future, privacy will no longer be a thing. You will voluntarily give up your privacy in order to gain lifestyle advantages. You've already done that in a Facebook world, right? In a Facebook world, you have given up your privacy to get the benefits of social media. That's going to go on steroids. And pretty soon, privacy, and I've said this many times, and I've seen other people say this, privacy will be that weird thing that kids several decades from now won't even understand. I mean, you'll try to explain it to them, they won't get it. Everyone will know everything about you, and you will know everything about everybody, or at least be able to look up everything about everybody. Now, one thing that'll do, it will eliminate monogamy. Virtually. It will virtually eliminate monogamy. I wrote an entire article, the Black Dragon blog, many, many years ago, called Because of Future Technology, Monogamy Will Soon Be Impossible. I pointed at an episode of Dark Mirror where it's a future where everything people sees is recorded into a little thing in the back of your neck. And so through this, a husband figured out that his wife was cheating on him. And it'll be worse than that. Your wife or your girlfriend will know everything about you. She'll know everywhere you are at all times. You'll know everywhere she is at all times. You won't be able to cheat. You won't be able to get away with it, which means people will be forced to assume, guess what? Alpha 2.0 non-monogamous models. You'll be forced to do this. The only people who are monogamous, who actually will do monogamy, will be people who are very old and have no interest in sex anyway, or people who are extremely religious. Extreme hardcore traditional Christians. They might still hold out. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But that's it. So it's going to change. Like I said, it's going to change everything. Most importantly, it's going to change core concepts of what you consider to be basic human concepts. There are many of you in my audience who consider monogamy as a basic human condition. That's going to go away. I would argue it already has gone away, but it's really going to go away. And when you are at the point when you have nanobots in your body, nanobots in your brain, you're living most or all of your life in a virtual environment. Money is all digitized, cryptocurrency type stuff. Well, what about, central banks? And that's a topic for another time. That'll be an issue too. But you won't be what you consider to be human anymore. And you can either freak the fuck out and get angry and pissed off, right-wingers, or you can accept it and plan on this happening. Because I do. I plan on this. When this happens, I will be a little nervous, but I won't be shocked or angry or appalled because I'm expecting this stuff. I don't know when it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Very similar to the collapse of the United States, Canada, and Europe. I know it's going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know when. So when it happens, I won't be happy, but I won't be surprised, and I will already have been well prepared for it. This is the same exact thing for you Alpha 2.0s. Prepare for this in advance, so when it occurs, you're okay. All these things, just put it in the same category as the collapse of the West. I mean, if you think rationally for a minute, what other option do you have other than be angry or scared? That sounds kind of stupid to me. I teach long-term consistent happiness. And there you go. As usual, this is a very big topic. If you want me to discuss more of this topic on future podcasts, I am certainly willing to do so. I will see you in the next podcast. Have fun.